Warning, this podcast is intended for adult audiences only. We discuss sex and sexual relationships in a frank and open manner. We are not marriage and family therapists or sex therapists, and the content provided is for informational and entertainment purposes only. If you are under the age of 18 or do not wish to hear explicit discussions about sex and sexual relationships or adult language, then you shouldn't listen any further. But if you are, well, grab your seat, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of The Accidental Swingers. We're Myrina and Tristan, a longtime married professional couple in our early 50s. Kids, dogs, cats, vacations at Disney World, you know, the whole 9 yards. But in 2018, we decided, after years of kind of talking about it, to live a non-monogamous lifestyle.
But it wasn't that easy, was it?
No, it wasn't.
You see, we sort of accidentally started swinging.
Yeah, we did. And we found our story so humorous and fun that we decided to record and chronicle our journey for ourselves so that we could go back and listen to our adventures.
And boy, have we had some adventures.
Yeah, we have.
In the last few years, we've found that we really love this lifestyle that we've chosen. And it's not only strengthened our marriage, but it's also helped us to grow both as individuals and as a couple.
And as we began to go back and listen to our recordings, we realized that others may really benefit from listening to and hearing about our mistakes and our very candid discussions about what we were going through and experiencing.
We talk about and we laugh about.
We laugh a lot.
Yeah, we do. We laugh about the mistakes that we've made, the crazy things that we've experienced, and the exciting things that have happened to us.
But we also talk very openly and honestly about the tough times, the emotional landmines and pitfalls we had to navigate, some rougher than others.
So we thought that we'd create this podcast so that others may gain some perspective or some insight and maybe even learn a lesson or two about what to do and what not to do in their own journeys.
And basically, you'll join us on our journey in real time because we will include excerpts of our recordings. Some will be quick outtakes, others will be longer conversations about what we were going through or experiencing at that time.
So grab a drink.
Or settle into your seat if you're driving.
Relax, sit back, and join us as we bumble our way through this adventure that we call
The Lifestyle. Well, hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
It's us.
Yeah, we're back.
The Accidental Swingers. I'm Myrina.
I'm Tristan.
In case you've forgotten who we are.
Right. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Welcome to episode 38 of the Accidental Swingers podcast. Well, it has been a very busy time for us.
It's been an incredibly busy time for us.
It has. It's been a crazy month. And so we are so happy to bring this episode to you. It's taken a while to get there.
Yes, it has. We apologize.
No, but we're back on track now. Quick recap update. Gosh, there was travel. There was family stuff. There was kids going back to school. There was August turned out to be like insanely stupid busy.
Yes.
We were trying to cram stuff in too before, like in Florida, the kids start school in the middle of, actually, I think the first day of school is August 10th or 12th. So they start early. So we were trying to cram in a bunch of end of the summer stuff in and, you know, family time and all that kind of stuff.
And that stuff too.
So it's been crazy busy, but that's nothing compared to what it's going to look like this fall.
Exactly. We've got so much coming up this fall.
We're traveling a lot.
Yeah.
I travel a couple times October. Mm-hmm. And then in November is our awesome Sway-K.
Yes.
Yeah. If you don't know about this, really fast, we are taking a group of up to 18 couples. That's it. On a vacation in the Dominican Republic. So we are 50% sold out. Mm-hmm. So we have room for actually 9 couples left, 8 or 9. And we're going on a week-long vacation in the Dominican Republic. Where are we going? It's North Shore.
Yeah, North Shore, and it's Sosua and Cabarete.
Yeah, they're like 2 towns that are right next to each other. Right.
So it's kind of like in that area.
Right. So that part of the North Shore of the Dominican. And so we are super excited when you decide to go with us on this trip. First of all, if you haven't checked it out, if you think you would like to go with us, it's 7 days.
So it's 7 days, and it's from November 5th through November 12th, 2022.
So what I was going to say is if you haven't checked it out, we did a call with the organizer of the event to ask him questions and talk about the trip itself. And so that you can view on our YouTube channel. Now, if you did not know we had a YouTube channel and you're like, wait, they have a YouTube channel? That's okay. We didn't really tell anybody about our YouTube channel. It just kind of showed up. I started it and we have gone back now. There are a very few of our very last podcast episodes on YouTube. There is no video to go with them, so don't be disappointed with just the podcast episodes. But the call that we did with Rob from Tasty Party Tropical, who is doing the Sway-K with us. We have that video that's there. We did one with him back before because this trip has been actually postponed. It was rescheduled to November from March because of COVID. So we had an original video with him there. So I left both of them there so people can go look. But the other thing that we have on our YouTube channel are the interviews that we've done with other podcasts.
Yeah.
And so those are actually also on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and some of those, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got, I don't even know how many, like 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, 6 or 7, I think. And there'll be, I think, 2 more added. Part of what we've been doing this past month is we guested on 4 other podcasts, July, August, and a couple of them are definitely on YouTube.
Yeah. So like the first one that came out was the MSCS Media podcast interview. And that was originally an exclusive on Spotify, but it's now on YouTube as well. He's had to go back in and kind of trim it down a little bit because it was a very long interview on Spotify. If you want to see the entire full interview, it's on Spotify.
And you can watch it on Spotify.
Yeah,
I don't know if people know
well,
this.
You can listen to it on any podcast platform. Just go to MSCS Media Podcast, but then you can actually watch it on Spotify.
In its
and
entirety.
You can watch the trimmed down version on YouTube.
Right. So that's really cool. That was such a fun.
Oh my God.
By the way, totally check it out. If you want to know more about us, he started.
As if you didn't know enough about us.
But it was
as it is.
We left that interview going, wow, that was such a great experience because most people ask us about the normal stuff. They ask us about swinging. I don't even think he even really talked to us about swinging much at all. It was all about who we were, how we ended up as a couple, how our life turned into this. It was so fun.
He asked about our first date, and he asked, first of all, he asked about the first time that I ever saw you and that you ever saw me.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I mean, we've never been asked anything like that before in an interview. He's an amazing interviewer. He's got an amazing podcast, an amazing YouTube channel.
And he interviews people.
All kinds of people.
Oh my gosh. From all walk, everything. Celebrities to, he has an amazing interview with a couple of actual criminals. I don't want to spoil it, but he has some amazing interviews with folks that are criminals that will tell you all about it.
But also very high profile people from the government and all over the place.
I'm going to say the criminals are high profile too. I mean, this is not like, gee, I stole a candy bar from the corner drugstore. No, these are people that are, and just amazing, amazing interviews. And we were so lucky to meet him.
Yeah, we were very fortunate that he wanted to interview us.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing interview.
Yeah.
And I've watched it a couple of times. And he asked some incredibly insightful things and really guided us in a really interesting course that I really wasn't expecting. It was really cool.
It was really cool. Yeah, so that's Tommy. It was a lot of fun. We did that interview 2 days after we got back from Naughty and Norland. So that was July. That was the first one we did.
Yeah, we drove down to Palm Beach and
so I look
exhausted.
like I look terrible. And not only that, I have a little bit of vanity, my own vanity. We'd been eating and drinking for a week straight. I'm like, I look at myself on that interview. I'm like, how do I look so bloated? And I'm the one that's sweating like a crazy person. Both you and Tommy look great.
No, I look like Jabba the Hutt. I mean, let's be real.
Well, but it's only because the way you were sitting. Yeah. You weren't sweating like I was sweating. It was really funny. And I will have to tell you guys, I don't know if you'll pick it up in the interview, but Tommy and Tristan, they have like a little bromance going on. I'm just going to tell you. It was really, really fun to watch them. I was the afterthought for sure because although Tom in the interview, you really can't tell, but he did a great job. He really, really did. Check it out, you guys. Just definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's a great interview.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, so anyways, I was talking about that was our YouTube channel. So you can check that out. Just go to YouTube and search Accidental Swingers, our channel. Those interviews will pop up. One of our most watched, most popular interviews is with the Meredith For Real podcast. Mm-hmm. She had us on a little bit over a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago.
And she is an amazing woman. She's so funny. She's so smart. She is also a great interviewer, by the way.
She's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, her podcast is fantastic. She has amazing guests. She has... I'm trying to even think about the last one I just saw that she did, but she does stuff like police canine dogs and pilots from the Blue Angels and us and people that talk about nutrition and sleep and how it's so important. She just
runs the gamut.
She does. She wants to know like everything. And I will promise you when you listen to her, first of all, she's beautiful and adorable and she is as beautiful and adorable in person as she is on her podcast. So that energy that you're getting is totally her.
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
when we saw her in Orlando at Podfest this last year, remember she was telling us how she was going to Cocoa Beach and she had driven over from where she lives, had to schlep her 9-foot surfboards up in the elevator at the hotel. Like, of course it's Meredith running up the hotel with her surfboards. But anyway, so if you search YouTube, that's actually probably the first thing that will come up is our interview with her because it's so highly watched. So you should check that out as well. But our YouTube channel is there. We will be starting to put more stuff there because we are starting to go to video. Should be episode 39 will be the first podcast that we also vidcast at the same time. So when the podcast goes out, the video will go up and you'll be able to either watch or listen to the podcast on YouTube. And that is because we have some other fun and exciting stuff happening this fall. So it's all coming in together, but that's for later because we can't really talk about it yet.
That's right.
But the other interview that we did, well, actually we did another one.
I think we did do 4 in the last month, but of those, only 2 are up now. And the other one was The Only One in the Room.
Yes.
With Laura
Cathcart-Robbins.
Yeah, she was amazing.
That was such a neat interview to do. And her boyfriend, partner, Scott, he was on the interview as
She
well.
really probed us and really made us think and asked us things that we had never been asked before.
Actually, I think all 4 interviews that we did really
pushed
were
us.
outside the box. Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was. So check that one out too. Yeah, The Only One in the Room. Her interviews talk about the folks that are the only one. So we were the only accidental swingers in the room. That's how we introduced ourselves. But she talks to people who have had extraordinary circumstances and things going on. So check out that podcast as well. Please check out our episode. And you can find that on YouTube or on their podcast. But it was so fun to do that episode. Just an amazing couple. We've been able to meet amazing people on our journey and on our podcast journey.
Right.
It's been great. Well, speaking of which, so... Let's talk about
the way that we met all these people.
We did. That's what I was going to say. This actually leads right into where we're going with this because in our own story, where we are in our own journey, which is
in March of 2019.
Yeah. Was it February or March?
This is in March.
Okay.
When we went to Podfest the first time.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So we did not even have a podcast and we were thinking about doing the podcast. Actually, totally legit. We talked about doing a podcast probably in January. And then somewhere in a couple of weeks, I decided to Google podcast groups in our area. And the Florida Podcasters Association is based out of Tampa, as luck would have it. And so we went. And at this particular meeting, which is run by Chris Kremitzos, who was talking about his event that was coming up 2 months later, was Podfest. And it was a big multi-day conference that was all podcasting, everything you needed to learn or know or could possibly want to understand, and amazing people that you would meet. And at that point in time, I think even Chris asked us what our podcast was about. We were like, we don't know. We wouldn't even tell him what it was about. And
we were terrified to talk to anybody about what we actually were going to do.
We didn't know how to say it.
Right.
Because we didn't know. We were like, do we even do this? Like, how do we do this podcast thing? So that's why we went to the meeting and then decided to go ahead and go to Podfest. And so we went to Podfest and it was amazing. It probably the thing that turned us around. Yeah, the whole thing. And we met so many amazing, wonderful people. That will be something that we will continue to do throughout, I think, our podcasting journey, is attend that conference, know those folks. We've made amazing connections. Actually, we met Laura Cathcart-Robbins through that connection. And actually, Tommy on MSCS Media. We met through those people that we met as well. So it's a great event. But we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to even talk about having a podcast. And we didn't know how to even approach anybody to tell them what we were thinking.
No, we were terrified. We didn't want to alienate people. We didn't want to offend people. We knew that what we had was going to be controversial for some and that it was going to be offensive for some. And so we didn't want to push ourselves on others. It's not how we are.
So I remember going to dinner and talking to the first person we ever actually outed ourselves to in the mainstream. And he was so intrigued and so interested to learn. Now, at this point in time, we'd only been in the lifestyle for about a year.
About a year? Yeah, depending upon whose anniversary you adhere to. In either case, it was over a year.
So I remember telling him, and it was so nice to be greeted with such a way that was like, that is so interesting. Tell me more about it. And I think had we not been with a bunch of people that were so supportive in that way, to talk about, to be able to say, wow, that's not for me, but that's a really cool idea. And no one ever made us feel bad or weird.
Right.
And I think that's what really helped us have the confidence to do what we do.
Yeah, it really did. And we met so many amazing people at that conference. And that gentleman that we had dinner with actually invited us to come on his podcast. It never happened.
Right.
But we met other people and people from our area and others who supported us and said, yeah, hell yeah, go for it.
It was really cool.
Absolutely.
So one of the really super awesome things about the conference was that we had splurged and decided to get VIP tickets. And their closing party was at Howl at the Moon there in Orlando, which is like a dueling pianos kind of place.
It's an awesome place.
Yeah. So we went, and this was the first time that so again, we're at PodFest and we're starting to warm up to tell people what we're doing. And they took us in buses to go over to the bar. And we happened to get on the bus with a bunch of people, and they all were like, oh, what's your podcast about? And we decided to tell them.
We were feeling bold.
We were.
Yeah. So we told them exactly what it was about.
Yep.
And they were really, really into it, very intrigued.
And they were younger. It was a younger group
they
of
were
folks,
in
in their late 20s,
early 30s. Yeah. Yeah. They were very supportive and had ideas for us. One of the things that and what I just said, that we don't want to push this on people. We don't want to make people uncomfortable. And one of them said, who was actually a podcast producer, said, oh, no, you need to get out there. You need to tell people about this and get out there. And so that was really gratifying for us and reinforced for us that, okay, well, maybe we can do this.
Right. She said, you need to tell your story. People want to know your story. And we were like, okay, we'll try. We'll see. I don't know. I don't think we were still like, yeah, maybe. It took a lot of nerve to get up and do this. But that was really, really, really cool. And they were so lovely. So we got more courage to tell everybody what we did. And so as we're going through the night... And as the drinks are flowing and the folks are flowing and everything's starting to kind of all kick in.
The vanilla event started to have a little twist.
It did. It did. So there was one particular gentleman, but we actually have the audio. So this whole weekend we went to PodFest and then we went to Secrets. And when we came home from Secrets, driving from Orlando back over to Tampa, we recorded and talked about the whole weekend.
Yeah, the entire weekend.
Yeah. So we actually have some audio that talks about this part of the evening because it was all part of what happened. So let's listen to the audio for this part where we met this lovely gentleman at Howl at the Moon.
Let's.
Okay, so now let's switch into some lifestyle stuff. Are we ready to switch into lifestyle? Because we can dovetail it. So we told the young folks about our alternative relationship podcast, and so they were all excited. So you left and went to the bathroom, and this young man came up and sat down next to me, and he said, you're sitting here all alone. I thought I would keep you company. And I said, well, that's really nice. I'm not alone, but that's really thoughtful of you to come and keep me company. So this was right as my buzz is getting ready to go from buzz to drunk when he comes up and starts talking. Yeah, so he came up and was chatting, and so we told him about what we did and whatnot, and he liked that idea. He was very supportive of an alternative relationship between us. So long story short, we start to wrap things up, and we missed the bus. We missed the last bus back to the hotel was like at 10:30, and this is like midnight, right?
Yeah, it was after midnight.
Yeah, by the time we started walking home. So we're like, all right, we gotta go. And he's like, oh, we're gonna Uber. So we're gonna Uber home. Nope, Uber's too far away. Lyft, nope, taking too long. All right, fuck it, let's just walk. You know, we were literally like 0.7 miles, so it's like it's gonna take us 20 minutes. So we'll just walk or whatever. And he's starting to angle for coming home with us. So, and I had kissed him. At some point in time at the table.
Yeah. And you did. Then that kind of did it for him.
Yeah.
Because then you went to the bathroom. He's like, wow, that was really hot.
Oh, it was? Aww.
He said, yeah, that was really hot. I've never done anything like that. I've never kissed a woman in front of her husband.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so he was really on board with it.
Yeah. And so he said, and then I
didn't tell me anything.
I did tell you. Actually, I did tell you this.
Really?
Yeah. And so then
when I was sleeping? You didn't tell. You could have told me.
It was that night. It was like when we got back to the room.
Oh well, I was fucked up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I told you already. This whole story. I'll tell you the story again.
Tell me, yeah. I was
so then you went to the bathroom, and when you went to the bathroom, he said, "Wow, that was really hot. I've never kissed a woman in front of her husband before." And then he said something like, "When somebody gets up to leave, that means," he said, something like my experiences, that means that that's like time to talk sort of thing. And I said, well, maybe, but in this circumstance, I can tell you that there's nothing happening. And I said, Mother Nature's not cooperating.
Right.
And he's like, huh? And I said, she's not having her period. So I said, I can tell you that nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, I do kind of remember you saying this now. Yeah. Okay.
And he said, then he said something
that's
like,
okay.
Something, and then he said something effective. Well, I just, like sometimes I find just cuddling,
Right.
And I'm like, no.
Right.
I said, no. I said, not fine, just cuddling.
Yeah.
She likes to fuck, and she can't tonight. So
Right.
Anyway, that went down while you were in the bathroom.
Okay, so then I came back and we're starting the conversation also, so I didn't obviously know about your conversation. So we're talking about heading back, and he starts to, angling to come back with us. Oh, his phone had died. And he's like, I don't have my key. And my room key. And we were like, well, you'll have to call your roommates. And he's like, well, my phone is dead. And we said, well, you'll have to bang on the door really loud and hope they answer. And so
you're not sleeping in our room.
So then, he was like, whatever. And he said something, well, if I can't wake, I can just stay with you guys. And we were like, no. And I think I even told him, nothing's going to happen. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then he also told me, it's okay, I like to cuddle. And I was like, yeah, no.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. And so that made it weird.
Yeah.
But my bad, because I was drunk and I did kiss him, and he was touching my leg under the table and stuff like that. So, and I didn't stop him because I don't mind.
Yeah.
And I was drunk, and I should have just said, I should have been a little bit more. But in the end, it worked out fine. So either woke up his roommates or he did have his room key. I don't know. But he didn't come back to our room knocking over. So we all walked home, and while we were walking, you and I were holding hands because I was drunk and you didn't want me to fall off, I'm sure, the sidewalk.
And I also didn't want any more. I didn't want him to. I wanted to create a wall.
Right. And so he still would walk kind of next to me a little bit and put his arm, just hand at the small of my back. Nothing terrible, nothing inappropriate, but that hoping to sway.
Yeah.
My decision, your decision, that nothing was going to happen or that he was going to be invited in, because he stood at our door.
Yeah.
We were like, well, see you later.
Yeah,
we're here. We got you into the building. So it was sweet and nice. And like I said, when I saw him going to I was going to the bathroom yesterday and saw him kind of out of the corner of my eyes. I was walking past and then realized, oh, that's but I already gone past. I was going to say hello on my way back out, and he wasn't there. Because there's no, animosity or anything.
It was just kind of weird.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird, because a grown man doesn't usually say, well, I'll just cuddle, we'll just cuddle. But if you think about it, if that were you, and you were, how old do you think he was? Maybe 35.
Yeah.
And you went up to a woman at a bar.
Uh-huh.
He came up to me. So he found me attractive enough to come up and sit by me, and then to find out that we have sex freely with other people.
Mm-hmm. Score.
Yeah, big time score. So of course you want to try,
Right.
But unfortunately not tonight. That's like the biggest blow. Like, what? How many times do you get to go to a bar, sit and talk to a woman that talks to you back or whatever?
Yeah, hit the jackpot.
Yeah, and then you get to find out you get to fuck her, or she fucks everybody in your mind. Yeah,
just not tonight.
Just not tonight. Like, what? Yeah, that blows if you're him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our lifestyle experience for Friday night, inadvertent, but kind of funny, but kind of something had never happened before experience. We had a couple of those this weekend.
Wow. Yeah. That poor guy. He really did hit the jackpot just on the wrong night.
I'm laughing so hard listening to that because, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It sucked to be him.
Yeah.
And he really was a nice guy.
He was a nice guy.
He really was. And I probably shouldn't have made out with him at the bar. My bad. Oops.
You can't be trusted.
I cannot be trusted. We know that already. But yes, that was so fun and so funny. And I thought it was an amazingly wonderful compliment, and he really was nice, and he talked to us quite a bit at the bar about our lifestyle. But
he was legit interested.
I think he was holding out hope against hope that I think his quote unquote cuddle meant like, well, if I go home with him, at least she's going to suck my dick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it meant.
I'm pretty sure it did too. So sorry, that's not what happened. Yeah, but yeah, I was going to suck a dick. I could barely even walk home. I was drunk as shit. I remember being drunk as shit, so that's impressive.
You still have skills when you're drunk, though, babe.
Oh,
so yeah,
yay me.
yeah, you.
Good to know.
Yeah, and yay me too. Whenever.
Well, the whole experience was great, and
It was. It really set us. It set us off on our path.
yeah.
It really did.
But I will say that had I been able to have sex with that man, it might have been my one successful vanilla.
You're what, 0 for 4 now?
I tell you what, vanilla guys, they get panicked at the end. They can't bring it in.
Yeah.
You guys in here know that from our other episodes, but yeah. I think he may have been the first one, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, fucking period. I tell you what, Mother Nature, that kind of sucked. That was really bad timing. But we powered through.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. So we were at Podfest. We met that amazing young gentleman that night. And then the next day, after we slept off our hangovers,
Kind of
slept off our hangovers. Yeah.
We had to retreat to our car at lunchtime because we had to check out of our rooms, and so I think it is at lunchtime. We're like, oh shit, we need to go nap.
Yeah, we did.
It was bad.
It was bad. Yeah, we were hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Secrets is outside of Orlando, so we decided to go ahead and go. And we had been chatting with another couple that I guess a couple months. I think we had been chatting with them a couple months.
Not that, a couple weeks, but it was
really?
on SDC. Yeah, we put as soon as we realized that we were going to, once we committed to going to Podfest, we said, all right, well, we're going to be there. It ends Saturday. Let's spend Saturday night at Secrets and go to that place for the first time because we had never been before. And so once we decided that, then we put ourselves on the guest list on SDC and on SLS, I believe also.
Yeah, I think we met, actually, I think they were on SLS.
Yeah.
And then we started they connected with us and we started a chat group on Kick. And so we had been chatting with them a while. And they had been to Secrets quite a few times. They really loved it. It was one of their favorite places to go. So we had never been. So we asked a lot of questions about what it was like and how. So it was nice to have a couple that kind of led us through.
Yeah, they kind of shepherded us through our first time there.
Right. So they were our resource for us at that point in time. So we were meeting them there on Saturday night. So we're going to play the audio that talks about meeting them. And in some of the audio, I do want to say, we'll talk about it at the end for sure. So this was 2019. This is the beginning of 2019. And Secrets, I don't know how long they had been in business. It was only a few years into their development, I'm going to guess.
We don't know.
Yeah. So things were rough. They were in the middle, I would say, of kind of really getting things up and going.
Yeah.
And so when we went back this past October in 2021, things were vastly different.
Well, when we went back in September of 2019, it was vastly different. And then when we went back last year, it was vastly different still again.
Right. So each iteration of each trip has been different. So it's gotten a lot better. But we thought long and hard about this, but we really wanted to play the audio about what Secrets was like before. It was what our first experience was.
Our initial impression.
Right. And we felt like that's important for you to understand. So you'll hear us. We'll talk about it. We talk a lot about the facility. We talk a lot about, well, you'll hear our story with the couple that we met, but we do talk about the facility and what we liked and what we didn't like. And as we're comparing it to, don't forget, at the time, we had been in the lifestyle for just a little bit over a year. So all we really knew was here in Tampa, Eyes Wide Shut, Paradise Lakes, and Caliente. And then this was kind of I think it was our first foray into someplace that was different. Yeah. Besides Naughty.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Naughty, New Orleans. So it was, as we're getting experience and going to different places. So we decided to go ahead and play this part for you so that you could see where we kind of saw it from when we came into it. And then if you guys ever get the amazing opportunity to go and visit there, you'll be able to see what they've done. They've grown in leaps and bounds and changed a lot from when we were there. And we're going back in October for Pod Bash. Bash.
Yeah. Again, for a second Pod Bash in a row.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that at the end here. But if you guys want to go to that, I will tell you really quickly, there's only about half a dozen rooms left available if you want to stay on property.
That's what I texted Brenda last night and asked how much is left. And she said, I think about a dozen rooms left.
So you can still go. You don't have to stay on property to attend. And
that is October 13th through 16th.
Great. So you'll be able to see when you come that it's very different. So we decided to go ahead and play this audio for you.
It's very entertaining. And we also talk about secrets in episode 28, I believe, when we went back for Pod Bash in 2021. And so I think it is valuable to kind of see the progression that they've gone through, starting out kind of rough and then becoming progressively better and better. Right. And we can't wait to see next month where they are now, because we even talk about in this raw audio that we see the vision and we see where they're going to go with it. Yeah. And we can't wait. So now it's really manifesting.
All right, well, let's listen.
Okay.
So let's talk about secrets.
So we went to Secrets, and I guess we should talk about.
So they had messaged us when we put ourselves on the guest list, and our had messaged and said, "We see you guys are on the guest list. I hope to see you there," you know, or something like that for Secrets. So we messaged back and had asked him, "Tell us about it. How are things? Is it, they really love it?" That's what he had said, or something like that. So we had actually been in a kick group for a couple weeks together about going and meeting when we got there. So we've been messaging back and forth, and they knew when we were coming, and they had said, "Meet us at the bar when you get here," and that kind of stuff. And had just been, flirty on the kick group, which is true if you think about it. But we never said anything specifically, but you're lifestyle people. You just, that's what you do. You have sex with other people.
Right.
So it's kind of a given.
And we liked their profile. I mean, they had a nice profile.
They do seem very similar to each of us.
Her pictures are really good and just cute. And she's cute in real life, too.
So we get to Secrets. So to me, it was really interesting, and I almost said it to you, and then I forgot, but I was like, do all sex clubs have to smell the same? And I was like, it smells just like eyes.
Kind of has the same eyes vibe.
It has a very similar eyes vibe. So we get there, and the guy's like, here, if you've never been before, I'll show you around, which was very nice. So he gave us the tour and showed us around. And basically there you can have sex everywhere except in the lobby. Where else did he say? Maybe the parking lot?
Parking lot.
The parking lot, the lobby. I thought he said you cannot have sex in the club.
He did say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't. It's against the law to serve alcohol and have sex at the same time. So I know that. So anyways, had said that that's not true. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's... and the bathrooms. You're not allowed to have sex in the bathrooms.
Okay.
So those were like the only
So why would you have sex in the bathroom, by the way? Anyways,
when you can have sex anywhere else.
Standing outside of the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah, so those are the only rules. So basically you can have...
And you can do anything else.
Have sex anywhere.
Yeah, and people were smoking everywhere.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. Which I think is also not allowed.
But then everybody was doing it.
Right, which... we can get to the things of what we each liked and disliked, but I will tell you right now, that is one thing that I really did not like.
Yeah, me neither. I don't.
Really, really, really did not like that.
Yeah.
And...
just walking around, smelling it everywhere, I really didn't like. I don't like that.
So, the tour. Mm-hmm. So, he took us on the tour, and which was kind of nice to see it in the daytime without a bunch of people there. So, we walked through, and they've got 2 pools and 2 hot tubs, and the one big pool is not heated, the other pool is heated, and the hot tubs are obviously heated.
Outside bar.
Two outside bars.
2 outside bars, yeah.
But one wasn't open yesterday.
Yeah.
Lots of seating areas.
Outdoor beds.
Oh yeah, a couple of outdoor, I think they call them cabanas.
Yeah.
I thought there were going to be more of those. There only seemed to be 4?
Yeah, maybe 4 or 6.
I don't know. It just didn't seem like a ton of them. But yeah, those were there. And so he took us in the club. And we saw the club. It's small. And then you walk through the kitchen. But the kitchen, this dingy little galley kitchen.
With some tables.
Yeah, actually had a couple tables, You're right. Is where you go and you get omelets in the morning. After 11 they'll serve omelets.
At night.
And they actually were setting up the buffet when we got there. So they had a buffet going, a free buffet. that actually looked like it was decent food.
Yeah. And the omelets were really good.
Yeah, but you walk through this, like, it's an old Ramada Inn, and it's right off the highway, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And our room, because we didn't want to pay for an expensive room, because we were only going to be there, knowing at 6 o'clock, it was a shithole.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've stayed in a shittier place in a very long time. We were college kids. Oh, yeah, you have.
I've taken to some shittier places than that.
Well, and she's a big fan of Secrets.
She loves Secrets.
Yeah, it was bad.
So the one remodeled room that I went into, the astronaut, it was very nice.
So then they showed us around in the playroom. So their playroom area, it's big. It's very big. It's bigger probably than ours.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's a different layout, but they have huge showers too, which I thought was fun and interesting.
Yeah, that would be fun to go in and.
Yeah. So you walk in and you walk in and there's like a swing, and you have to be naked. So you walk in when you go through. There was a tour. He was giving us a tour, so we didn't have to be naked. But you're supposed to be naked wearing a towel or naked. And so you walk in and it's a big circle. There's a sex swing right there in the open, like when you walk right in, so that you can do a sex swing. And then they have the different rooms, and each room has 2 beds in them, and they're different themes, quote unquote, which means they have painting on the wall. There's nothing, there's nothing to the room. It's just painted, whatever, the red room, the coastal room, whatever. And most of them have doors, except for the first one. I think the door probably had.
Well, no, he said that's a semi-private.
Oh, well, they're all semi-private.
Well,
they have.
Yeah, like that. Well, he said like he described it as semi-private open.
Oh, okay. So that one, it just has a curtain that hangs in, but they're all basically the same. 2 beds. And a window.
Yeah.
And the windows are wide open, and there's no curtains and there's no shades.
Although you can request.
If you want, you go tell the attendant, and they will hang a sheet.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't.
Presumably on the inside.
I would think, because hanging a sheet on the outside
doesn't do any good.
So you're pretty committed.
Yeah.
To having sex in front of other people.
Yeah.
There is no privacy there. Before you even walk in, this is the dungeon room, actually. So before you even walk in, so you can go into the dungeon room clothed and watch what's going on. And the dungeon room is just a big, huge room. And actually last night, so it has a cage in the middle of it. There's a St. Andrew's cross or whatever they call it. And then some tables. And last night there was like a massage table, and somebody was getting a massage or something. I can't remember. So it's a big room with stuff, but it was so loud and chatty. But anyways, all right, listen up. Wait, we'll just do the tour. So wait, I get ahead of myself. So there's that. Then you walk in. So each room has the 2 beds, the open window. They have a little glory hole station where with 2 glory holes in the corner. The big group room has 8 beds put together, and that's all has sheer curtains, but everybody's watching.
Open,
it's all open. That's in the middle of the room, and then you keep on going, and then they have 6 more beds that are quote unquote semi-private with sheer curtains hanging down.
But they're all open.
They're all open.
So the only difference is that there's like a couple inch gap in between the beds.
Yes, right, exactly.
Them,
it's really like one group per bed. Then you kept walking, and there were more single beds, but they were also totally open. I think there weren't even curtains there. And then that's where the porn theater is, which we didn't even go.
Oh yeah, we didn't go back that direction.
We never made it quite that far last night after when people were in there. And then you circle through the showers and you circle back out.
Right.
So that's the playroom tour. And then the rest of the facility, it's nice. The whole patio bar area is redone. There's tables and chairs and stuff, and a couple sitting areas in other places. So there's lots of the rooms that face the courtyard, and the majority of the rooms had their blinds up, so you can kind of look in as you walked by. And during the day, you're just looking in at people's open suitcases and things like that. But they're very nicely redone. The newer rooms are redone. So anyway, so that was our tour, and then we went and took our nap, and then we went downstairs and met up with at the bar. Are we still recording?
Yes.
So we met them. They'd been there since 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were pretty toasted by the time we met them at 7, and had been in the sun all day, whatnot, and we're talking, and just kind of getting to know them a little bit more. So we're just talking, and you went to the bathroom, and that's when he pulls out his vape pen, takes a big couple hits, hands it to her. She takes a hit. Then they offer it to me, and I said, no, thank you. And then I said, oh, is that weed? They said, yeah. I said, is that the oil or the actual weed? And they said, no, it's the oil. And so we talked about that. So I'm like, oh my God, they're fucking stoned and drunk. And that was like a turnoff right there. So it kind of like, whatever. And they were talking a little bit about their story, and their story is a little bit different. Or I heard his story. I don't know if you heard their story or not.
Not really.
He told me their story. You were chatting with her.
Yeah, and she was kind of difficult to talk to at first, and then we started talking about grammar, and then we're like, oh, okay, there's our common thread, and she's a whatever. Then we started talking about that. So then that kind of got things going a little bit, and so and I think she's very pretty and very cute and very attractive. Although there was something missing. There really wasn't a ton of connection, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really about it. I don't really have much more to add to that.
So then they said, we'll give you a tour, and we said, well, okay, even though we had said we'd kind of been on a tour, but I was like, well, it's nice to get another perspective. Plus, I wasn't quite sure I heard everything that the guy said from the other tour and things like that. So they took us into the club, and we asked, so is it busy? And they're like, we don't know, we don't ever come in the club. I don't know. So then they took us in the playrooms, and so now it's a little bit later. It's about, 8 something. So the playroom is officially open.
Yeah.
At this point.
But there was nobody in there.
There's nobody, yeah. Oh, there was one.
There was one couple in the dungeon, and then another couple came in later.
Yeah. So they said, well, you have to get naked to walk through the playroom now. And he said, well, we're just going on a tour. And she said, no, you have to get naked. So, and she turns to me, she said, are you okay with that? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then I realized, shit, I have my tampon in because I have my period. So I don't want to walk around with my tampon string hanging out, and I wasn't sure exactly how naked meant.
Right.
So we get naked, and we start, and I'm like, well, that's all right. We're going to have a towel, so we're going to have a towel wrapped around us. So we go in with them to the lockers, and you put your clothes in a locker, and you get naked, which was a new experience for us, kind of.
Yeah, because we've never done that at Eyes. We never, or at Caliente, where we got a locker and then just left our clothes. We always just take our clothes off wherever we went.
Yeah, right there. And so it was a little bit different because you're with another couple and you're getting naked and stuff.
But totally fine. Right?
No, it was fine. So we get naked, and they're showing us around a little bit more in depth and talking about the different things and whatever and whatnot. So so there's a couple in the dungeon room. He was strapping her up to the cross, and eventually you could hear him
flogging her.
So they show us, here's the glory hole, and she says to, go over there, go behind, and so he sticks his dick through the hole, and she starts to suck his dick for a minute. So, and what immediately was going through my mind is like, well, do I drop down on my knees and suck his dick too? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go there right this minute because I have my tampon in, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where this is going to go.
And I, by the way, wanted to get on the other side too, but then I thought, well, I don't want to. Yeah, I gotta follow your lead because you're the one,
right?
Right. With the deficiency.
Right. So then we start walking around a little bit more, and she jumps on a bed, right?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, she's like on the group bed.
Did she jump on that one first?
I don't remember if it was.
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah, because that's where.
Yeah, so she jumps on in the group beds, the 8 beds all together, and you and I just start kissing, and I'm like, fuck.
And I said, do you want me to, because then you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I said, do you want me to tell them while you're gone, or do you want to tell them?
And I said, I would tell them. Yeah. So I said, look, I have to go use the restroom. And they were kind of like, what? He's like, you have to go use the restroom. And it was almost like, why would you be surprised about that? You're springing this on us. Like, right. I don't know that, obviously in your heads you knew this was happening.
Yeah, but we did not.
You fucking are taking us on a tour. Yeah, it was really kind of,
it was weird.
It was weird. So she says, well, I'll take her to the bathroom and show her where it is. But then we couldn't get in. And I said, look, I'll just go out to the pool. It's no big deal. So I walked out to the pool, had my towel on, walked out to the pool, went to the bathroom, still was having bleeding issues. I'm like, there's no way to even fake it.
Right.
Because if I fuck, then I'm going to bleed everywhere. So I come back, and you're on the bed with them. And so I crawl in with the towel wrapped around my waist. Now, I've taken my tampon out, so at least my string isn't hanging out. But now I'm thinking, if it's just terrible to have your period. It's just not. There's just too much mentally that goes with it. Because then I'm like, if I leak, You know, I mean, it's just terrible. So I tell him that I'm really sorry. I don't even know if I said I didn't have time to tell you or whatever, but I just said I'm really sorry. Mother Nature is not cooperating with me. And he's like, what? And I'm like, well, I have my period. And he's like, oh. It's like, all right, well, I can work within limitations. And I said, okay. And he said, there's still stuff you can do. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, that's true. So he kissed me, and then I started to give him a blowjob. Well, he's not getting hard, like at all. And I'm like, all right, am I not doing it right? Because he's got foreskin. So I'm trying to maneuver that. And I realized because he's watching her, which is totally fine, obviously. So he's wanting to watch her, and he's wanting me to be with her. And she is not responding either way, or she's not making any kind of move or whatever. So, yeah, so I started giving him a blowjob. Nothing's really happening. He kind of motions me over to lay down next to her. So I did. And then he's up on his knees, starting to stroke himself. So he's starting to get a little bit harder. You're over with her. I think you had gone down on her at this point or something.
Yeah.
So I start to give him a little bit of a blowjob. He's kind of like rubbing my clit, which was like, okay, but you can't go any further.
Right.
Of course, I didn't have a tampon in, but I didn't, he didn't know that or whichever. Maybe he thought that I did, so I don't know. And he was a little bit rough.
I noticed you kind of back him off.
I did, because he was really rubbing hard, and I can't even let loose to even begin to let go, because I'm all about my period. So, and he's like pushing my hand towards her. So I kind of relaxed my hand on her leg, because I'm down a little bit lower. Relax my hand. We're both on our backs. Relax my hand on her leg, and I kind of stroke her leg a little bit like that. She never reached over to touch me. I kind of looked back to see, although I felt another hand on me. Oh, I even sucked her nipple.
Mm-hmm. I thought at one point, I thought that she did.
I thought she did too, but I looked over and her arm was above her head. And I'm like, well, then what arm touched me? So I couldn't quite figure it out. Now, at this point in time, she also knew. Oh, no. Did she know?
Yeah, she did.
She did know because he told her that I had my period. So so they already knew that piece of it. So I don't know what the deal was with that. And again, it's partly because I don't really care about playing with women.
Right. Well, and I think their profile said she's straight, so I don't.
Yeah, and then I couldn't remember, and so whatever. But if it's kind of like the men are orchestrating this, or that's. I mean, he was pushing me towards her physically, kind of nudged me and put my arm.
Right.
Whatever, and that's not cool with me. If the woman wants to touch me, she can reach out and touch me. And although, I did stroke her arm or her leg or whatever, but it clearly was not I'm all in on this.
Right. It wasn't like the first time we were with where she would just she just attacked you.
It wasn't even like, and it wasn't like the time at Caliente with our anonymous couple.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. She was very touchy, and she instigated it by reaching out and stroking my leg, and then I turned back, or I think he said she's touching you, because I didn't realize who was touching me. And so that was much better, much nicer, much whatever. So it was like, all right, I'm not getting the vibe, so I'm not going to be an aggressor.
Right.
So, and nothing can happen, and I'm not going to lick her pussy. So things are kind of mediocre at this point, for sure, on my side of it.
Yeah, they're mediocre.
I can't tell. Sorry, you're going down on her, whatever. So he's so watching her now. I've stopped. Again, totally fine. But I didn't say to him, it's fine if you watch her. I don't really care. But anyway, so I look over and I see that she has turned herself. She's doggy style, and she is presented to you.
Yes, she wanted me to fuck her
like a dog does. She's turned around.
Which was
she's
pretty
presented.
hot.
Yep, she's presented. She's ready to fuck. And then comes back the thing in my head where he has said that the very first time they ever played, they broke all their rules and they played without condoms and blah, 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 blah. So I realized this, and I said to him, we play safe. And he said, oh. And I said, you all don't use condoms? And he said, no. And I said, well, we use condoms. And he said, well, that's on him. And I said, well, he doesn't have a condom.
We were taking a tour.
And I said, he doesn't have a condom. And he said, well, that's on him. And I said, yeah, because we weren't prepared. So then he says, and you two have been having conversation, but he says to her something, then he went and said to her, they play safe. And she's like, well, that's okay. I can still play with you. So, I mean, she had a good attitude about it. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah, that was weird and awkward. And,
So what was your...
well, and so, I went down on her and fingered her, and it was weird because, and I couldn't, she was kind of responsive. I think that she had an orgasm, but then she started kind of pushing me, or pulling me off of her clit, and so, which can mean that she's overstimulated.
Or you're not doing it right for
Or
her.
possibly.
Right.
Anyway, so that, I'm like, all right. So I didn't know what to do there. But yeah, I don't know. She was responsive, but then not. Yeah, then he started fingering her while I was sucking her nipples, and you were just kind of there.
Yep.
Yeah, so then she got turned around and was... Oh, and then she started going down on me. Which was nice. She has a nice technique. But I had to go to the bathroom. And so... and I didn't want to go... I thought that there were bathrooms inside. And so I was going to wait. I didn't realize that you had to fucking go all the way, whatever. And so I was going to wait until you got back, then I was going to go. So when I have to go to the bathroom, that's a distraction for me. And so it was hard for me to enjoy it. I did get hard, and I was actually about to tell her, you're going to need to back off because you're going to make me come, because she did have a nice technique. But then she stopped, and I forget what happened then. But then she wound up, presenting herself to me like a dog, which was very hot because it was kind of like primal.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that's what was happening. So I slid my finger in, and then I slid up beside her and said, we use condoms, and I don't have a... Because simultaneously I could hear you having the conversation with him, and that's when I said to her, "We use condoms, and I don't have any with me." I said, "They're in the room in our bag." And that's when he came around and said to her, she's like, well, I can play with you. And so at this point I'm thinking, so then you and I are kind of looking at each other like, well, we want to leave, but all of our stuff's in their locker. And so we have to leave together because we didn't get a separate locker. So I'm thinking, well, hopefully this doesn't take too long. And it didn't. And it didn't. It was, he started fucking her, and he was done in 15-20 seconds.
Yeah.
And I turned to you and I said, I would have fucked her way longer than that. And at this point, I wasn't sure that, maybe we still might, later, once we kind of once we kind of got on the same page, because it didn't sound like she was resistant to condoms, but it just, and so I thought, well, I might still have a shot, which I would like to, but we're not now, I don't think, but ever. So I don't think so. Just too bad because, like I said, I liked her and I find her attractive. Anyway, so it was just weird. It was weird all the way around. It was not a good experience. We've had worse. Yeah. We've had worse experiences. We've had worse. Nobody puked. So here's the takeaway. So, and we talked about this on Thursday, do we cancel? And I said, I don't want to.
And I didn't want to.
And you didn't want to. And you said, well, I can still, people can suck my nipples, I can get blowjobs, there's still plenty that I can do. And so I think that we were both kind of glossing over the mental piece of it. Yeah. Obviously.
Yes, for sure.
Because last night you spent the whole time with your arms crossed across
It was cold. I really was cold, and I wanted to have my shirt on where I could show my tits, so I didn't wear my sweater.
Right. Yeah.
I really am. That is 100% legitimately true.
But you weren't having a good time, and
no, it is. It's when
So I think the takeaway is that we just say we're forcing it. We've said this before. Right. We said it before after the time that had her period, and we went and it was a bad.
It wasn't great. It wasn't fun. I mean, it was okay.
Yeah, it's. And then, obviously it was a mess. We said...
Yep, we did say.
We just, as much as we want to make it work, we just need to pull the plug. Right. And so we should have pulled the plug. On Thursday. But we were hopeful, because there was 3 full days, and there was a possibility that you could be done. And so I think we were both just very overly optimistic. Yep. So what we should have said, if we couldn't cancel, we should have said, well, transfer it to a different date. Right. Which I'm sure they would have done. Yep. That's all right. So now we really know.
Lesson, yeah.
Yeah, we really know that now.
So let's talk about Secrets itself. What did you like, and what did you not like?
I like the concept a lot. I like the fact that, kind of alluded to it earlier, that there's just no rules, and it really is pretty much anything goes. And I love that. I do kind of like in the same way that I kind of like the seediness of eyes, and I kind of like that because I like Fantasyland too, which is really fucking seedy. Playrooms, I really love the playrooms. It's a great setup, I think, and I enjoyed the whole group area. I like the vibe and I like the concept. What I didn't like, this is where it's inconsistent, because I like the fact that it's kind of seedy, but it's pretty skanky. I mean, it's real skanky. They're working on it, but the fact that they don't have bathrooms,
and the 2 bathrooms that they
are
have
disgusting. Yeah, they're 2 sets of bathrooms.
Right.
One out by the pool that are disgusting,
which is a single bathroom.
Exactly. And then in the club, and those were disgusting.
Yep.
And there's a restroom attendant, which bothers the shit out of me. Anyway, but that's just a pet peeve of mine. Yeah, it's dingy. It needs a lot of work, which they're doing. They're working on. And so I would be curious to see it as it continues to improve.
Right.
Physically, just the physical structure and the cosmetics and so forth improve. Again, we're used to caliente, and so people who don't know any differently. Now it's and they are apples and oranges in terms of what you can do and play rooms. Although now that we know about the after party at Caliente, that changes things a little bit. But anyway, so we're back to Secrets. So I didn't like. I mean, I don't like the fact that it's pretty rough. The crowd there, again, another 2 sides of the same coin. I like the diverse crowd, and there's really all kinds of people there. This morning we saw people getting in their Tesla and leaving, people getting into their Maserati and leaving. But then, especially when I went back out later, that we'll get to the hot tub, it was pretty, there's some pretty rough people. And overall, very young crowd. I thought that was interesting. There really weren't, and
there were some very old people.
Not many, though. Not many. It was mostly, I would say, like 30s and 40s. Don't you think?
Yeah. And so this is where I will own it and have to put it aside because this is what's going to end up happening. But I'm a swinger snob.
Yeah. Well,
I really didn't think about it just because our 2 choices, Paradise Lakes or Caliente, well, there's no in between.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is kind of an in between, and I'm a snob.
Yeah. And for the same reason, it sounds kind of like that you would, and so I think that Seekers is very analogous to Eyes.
It is.
And I think I like Eyes better than you do.
Yeah, but I'm willing to go back to Eyes. I think, so so let me tell you my likes and dislikes. So again, I also like the concept very much. I think that that's great that they're kind of on the forefront to do that. I think there's opportunity also for somebody else to do something better somewhere else.
Right.
If you wanted it to be totally lifestyle. Here's the other piece of the puzzle, though, is that because of where they are, how it's structured and things like that, it does run the gamut of people that are there. So the things that I liked, there's so many things that need to get better. So the playroom was great. And I think the playrooms actually were now being more comfortable in playing in the open. Had I not had my period, I'd have gone anywhere. We could have gone into any room. I wouldn't mind the window being open. I wouldn't mind playing on the beds.
Yeah.
6 months ago, yes. Now, no. So that didn't bother me at all. Although I was like, gosh, that's really uncomfortable for a couple who isn't that way.
Right.
Then you have to go and find someone to get you a sheet. It's like, come on, people. Put up some Venetian blinds.
Right.
It can't be that hard.
Yeah.
And then let people decide. Now, here's the other piece of the puzzle is that they're more likely going to leave them open. So one of the other things. So I like it being kind of the hotel style, and you can walk by people's rooms, and you can see, because that's kind of the voyeur and the exhibitionist there, people leaving their windows open. What I don't like is that leads to very segregational play. Like, there are all these people in their rooms fucking that you can watch, but their doors are closed, and so I can see where people talk about that it's maybe more fun if you go with a couple. I think that if we went with a couple, then it is more fun because you have an automatic play partners. It's just set up differently, so it's just a different dynamic, a little bit, if you ask me. You can see where that would be something that would be fun to do if you're with another couple. And then you can bring other people in and whatever, but, I don't know, it is definitely a different dynamic with it being the hotel that's right there. And the different class of people and the different attitude. So here's where my snob part comes in. And I'm all about diversity and different kinds of people. But I really was like, you know, you've come to the nightclub in cut-off jeans and flip-flops.
Well, you're not supposed to also. It says,
and
right?
So it really makes a huge difference of the whole feel of the club with people in their t-shirt. Even then, just be naked. Or be in your sexy underwear or something like that. But it was just, I didn't like that at all. And then so many people smoking and vaping was such a huge turnoff for me because we don't smoke or vape. So that was just a turnoff. And I don't know. I just don't need to be, plenty. And I'm thinking, I know people could smoke a Caliente. Where do they smoke? Oh, yeah, they smoke out on the patio, but it's not like there. It's just all around you, even at the bar. I don't ever remember. No one smokes at the bar at Cali.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to.
Yeah.
Inside.
So, anyways, that was a turn off for me. Then, so the people who had their sexy vibe on with their sexy club outfits, which I like, next to the people who are just in their flip-flops and t-shirts and stuff, and so it's kind of like that was a disconnect. So I didn't like that. The other thing that I realized, and what had said, was what he talked about, they're so great about the attendance and everything was so wonderful on the playrooms. Nobody. People walking around clearly breaking all the rules, that you're not like the single male, totally fully clothed, walking around looking at everybody. That was creepy as shit. And so I didn't like that at all. Now, they apparently have had a huge staff turnover. So we caught them at a bad time, but it was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess. And I never saw one person come to clean a bed.
No, I didn't either.
And there were people fucking all over the place.
Yeah.
And so that
it was packed.
And it was packed. And then I realized we were barefooted. There were a lot of people that wore their shoes. The floor was wet over by the group bed, and I don't know if it's because someone came or squirted or what, but the floor was wet.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
And I made a mental note. I don't want to walk towards the glory hole. It wasn't cum. It was wet. So that made me realize, I should have just, worn flip-flops in here. Yeah. So that was kind of a turn off for me too, like realizing. So then I'm like, well, that's all right. So what I watched was then the people who obviously knew better threw their towel down on top of the bed and then got on the bed.
Yeah.
And then the one couple that was at the end, she probably came and squirted, or he came or something, because they flipped the stuff off the bed. She pulled the sheets up and kind of folded them over themselves when they left. And then I'm like, also, the mattresses are not the cleanable mattresses.
Right.
They're mattresses.
Actual mattresses.
So that was kind of like, not sure about how clean that is either. Yeah. So there were just some things that were just, I don't know, I'd almost rather have plastic. The Eyes mattresses are the better mattresses if you ask me, because you're feeling, at least they can come down, close them down and wipe them off.
And they do.
Yeah.
And they do it. As soon as you leave, somebody goes in there and cleans it.
So it definitely leaves a little bit, and maybe we caught them at a bad time and things like that. So what I liked about the playroom, I did like being in there and kind of being able to watch people. I would have much rather been able to play with you. And I'm watching the people, and I'm like, the guy that came over and started fucking the girl, and I'm like, I wish I could be with right now, or I would so much rather be with it. Like, watching them, all it made me do was think about, I've had some amazing experiences, and I'd much rather be having amazing experiences than watching. It wasn't a turn on. Now, also mentally, I was just not in a place to be turned on, because it was just uncomfortable. I didn't feel good. I think it's a damp area, and my sinuses have been bothering
and you were hungover and you had your period.
Yeah. Well, I was done being hungover, I think, by that point in time, but and I drank a lot of water. But the very last drink that the girl gave me, she was being lovely, was so strong, I couldn't even finish it. It was basically straight vodka. So, it was just everything. It was just kind of like all of that, and then, of course, the key being that I had my period, and it's like I can't even really get comfortable about taking my towel off because a tampon string in, and so it was just bad. It was just bad mentally. But, so I was trying to think about that, like, well, am I in a bad mental space? Or, because watching it was kind of hot a little bit, but it was kind of like, it got old for me fast. And I much rather would have been doing it than watching it.
Right.
Like, I can watch it for a little bit, but it's kind of like, that's all I was thinking. Like, I've had great experiences. I'd much rather be having my experiences.
So, ironically, I had the same thought, that, because I really wanted to be playing. And the fact that I couldn't was very frustrating. That's why I guess we looked at each other and you said something like, did I even say, are you ready to leave?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could tell you were not having a good time. Then I started not having a good time, partly because you weren't having a good time.
Well, it's all that synergy thing.
Yeah, and so it just I'm like, fuck, let's just get the fuck out of here. And that's when I started thinking this was a mistake. We should have canceled. Then it just started getting negative, and yeah, so we left. And you said, well, do you want to go to the dungeon? I'm like, no, I don't even want to do that. Let's just fucking go. And so we got back up to the room, and I'm like, shit, this is like, I can't sleep, so I'm like, fuck, I'm just gonna go down to the jacuzzi. We're here. I'm gonna go to the jacuzzi. Just sit in the jacuzzi naked. Anything happens, great. I'm not gonna instigate anything. I'm just gonna, So I did. I grabbed a beer and then I went down to the jacuzzi. There were two. There was one, one dude in the one. So and then there was one couple in the other. So I went to the one with a couple, and I just, I got in there. I wasn't creepy. I just got in there and with it, and then people people came and went, and there was a lot of turnover. So the animal print woman and her husband got in. Actually, there was another couple there. Yeah, so there's another couple. So another couple came, and they were, just talking and whatever, and they weren't doing anything. And then the animal print woman and her husband came and got in, and eventually they started talking to the couple that had been there. So at this point now there were three couples in there. So the animal print woman and her husband started making out, and then the other couple who was there first or second started making out, and then the one guy reached over and started playing with the animal print woman's boobs, which were lovely, and then started sucking on her nipples, and then they switched, and then they started fucking, and then they all kind of like decided they wanted to go to the room, and they got up and left. So that was pretty hot to watch. This is kind of like organic interaction that led to them leaving to go fuck. In the meantime, a guy came and sat on the edge of the pool with his dick so long that it was like literally, the tip was like literally hanging into the water. This guy's fucking dick was enormous. And so whenever a new couple would come to the pool, he would hoist himself up and sit on the edge and present his huge dick. And nobody took him up on the offer, but that's what he was doing, obviously. So he was there. So he kind of came and went. Another couple other single guys came and went. There was a couple came, and there was a guy on the other side of the jacuzzi, and a couple came, got in. She was wearing a bathing suit bottom and no top, and she was very pretty, young. And then her husband left. I don't know where he went. And like within 2 minutes, the guy starts talking to her and then starts feeling her boobs. She's like looking around, and she's clearly liking it because she's looking around for her husband. It was really interesting to watch. And then clearly, he started fingering her, and she, was liking it, but still looking around. Worried, I guess. That's what it looked like. And so eventually then her husband/boyfriend came back, and then she got up and left, and then but then like 15 minutes later she came back, just her, and got him, and they walked off, and he went off with them. So anyways, that was one guy down. The other one with the big dick still there. And he would come and go, and so it was really interesting. And then these two girls came, the ones that were in the club, like pole dancing. So they came and they started making out, and I'm like, oh, this is nice to watch. And and then guy shows up.
Really?
Yeah. And he walks up straight over to them and hands them a vape pen. And they had clearly, they would let him like play with their tits for pot. This is clearly what was going on. And so, but that's all that they were going to let him, that's all they would let him do, is just play with their tits. They'd take a hit, play with tits, take a hit, play with, so, yeah. And so that was...
He'd cornered the market
yes.
on the titty play.
Yep. So I watched that, and then finally... and I'm like, well, I'm ready to leave, and I was kind of waiting for a good time to leave, and so finally I just left. And so then as I was walking back, I was looking in all the open windows as I was walking back, and people fucking in basically every room with the windows open, which is really hot. Something that was really hot. So I was facing, so if this is where the bar is, and so here's where we were sitting, and remember there's like a fence over here. So like at this bank of rooms.
Right.
So I'm here facing over there. A woman comes out and she's just standing there with her, big tits, and a young woman. And then a man comes out and gets behind her, and they start fucking. And so he's fucking her from behind, and her tits are swinging and like hitting the fence. And yeah, it was pretty fucking hot. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, but then, but lots of people fucking in the pool around me. And a couple came and was next to me fucking, and then they got up and left. It was fun and hot, but it would have been twice as fun and twice as hot if you had been there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I missed you. I'm glad that I went down and hung out there, and I was there until like 4:45. So I don't know how long I was actually there, but I don't know. I have no idea. So I'm glad I did. I enjoyed it, but it would have been 100 times better with you. So that was my experience. So I guess the question is, do we go back? And
so I would say, I would definitely go back.
Mm-hmm.
I would go back when obviously I can play, and I would go back, and I think I would probably enjoy more going back, like if wanted to go, or another couple that we knew or something like that wanted to go. I think that would be fun. Yeah, I definitely want to go back, and maybe we wait a year or so and go back when it's mostly done and renovated.
Give them a year to get their shit together.
Yeah, because I think they're, like you said, I think they're onto something. It's definitely different than either place that we've seen,
Right.
even though the ages at Caliente are probably the same. Think about the ages at Caliente.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of older people. We've been there with the younger people, and we're like, ugh, shut up about doing your cocaine.
Yeah. My thought was, I agree. Yes, I do want to go back. I want to try it again. I would like to give them some time to get their shit together. But my primary thought was, why would we drive 2 hours to go there
when we can go
drive 25 minutes to go to Caliente?
Yeah.
Especially now that we know that, there are group playrooms at Caliente. It's just not big, but still, I mean, that's fine. And I mean, not open real long, 1:30 to 3.
Yeah, but you can fuck in the pool, you can fuck outside. I mean, it's just, that's
right.
just,
But
and people are still watching you, and you can
people,
join
though.
in. Yeah, it's definitely different when you have quote-unquote playrooms.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the playrooms at Paradise Lakes. That was
No,
because
I didn't
that's
like
the
that at
same
all.
kind of a...
Creepy single guys.
Totally creepy. Way more creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
so
I didn't like
this
that.
they do better because of the single guy policy. So there's only a few single guys, but they're still there and they're still lurking. But it works for them. But I don't like the super sleaziness of that for me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a place for it all, and that's, who am I to say, man? That's just not my bag at this point in time. I'm sure it will happen. I'm sure there'll be a time where something like that happens, and sooner than later, because I've already fucked a stranger in a group playroom.
And it was awesome.
And it was awesome. So anyway, the benefits of having gone is that we got to see it in its state now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to experience it, and we know what to expect when we go back. We really do. So,
Which was also kind of why we wanted to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to be over there anyway, why the fuck not?
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be, but a lot more open-minded, kind of having a plan. I can see where people say going with another couple is fun because you already have somebody to be with. You don't have to rely on meeting people, but you sure can. And it sounds like that's maybe hanging out in the hot tub is a awesome place to be. And that place is going until, like, my God, no people didn't shut up until like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
They're up and out and talking and partying. The music didn't stop until at least 6 o'clock. I think,
which
in the morning.
would be kind of downside of being on the
on the
inner
inside.
side.
Yeah.
But that's what you're there for.
And you
Just
can't
to party all night and fuck all night.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
All right, we ready?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good trip. Good trip.
All right.
So that was an interesting trip.
It was a very interesting trip.
But it was important to hear all of that. We really wanted to play all of that.
Yeah.
But first of all, let's talk about the couple that we met before we talk about secrets, because that was different.
It was very different. We had been in the lifestyle for a little over a year. We hadn't really experienced anything quite like this. We hadn't experienced anything quite like this couple. And we weren't prepared on a lot of levels.
Right. Yeah, they were way more experienced.
They were very hard. Well, they were very hardcore also.
And what I find interesting is that we didn't pick any of that up in the...
No, we didn't.
In the kick group.
No.
Like talking and chatting with them for the couple of weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
We were caught off guard.
Yeah, we were.
Which again leads to the fact of, if you're playing with, you should tell folks where you are in your process. Like, the fact that you play bareback is a pretty big deal.
That's a really big deal.
That's not something that you don't mention.
Yeah.
It's like they clearly assumed that would be the way that it was, because he a couple of times said, well, that's on you. Although I did think about this when we were listening to the audio. Maybe in the future, a better way to say that we play with condoms is we play with condoms versus we play safe, because that makes them sound like maybe they think it makes us think like they're being unsafe, which it is. But that's
it is.
That's not.
But it does sound
nasty.
like we're a little more elitist.
Right. But we didn't mean it that way.
No.
But that is what we said.
Yeah, that is what we said.
Yeah, that we play safe, and like you people apparently don't give a shit about your health, which is not what we meant.
Or ours, yeah.
Right, which is not what we meant.
No, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I found that interesting. Yeah, that it kind of ruffled my feathers even listening to it. I was like, ooh, did we really say that to them multiple times? Well, we play safe. So anyways, in the future, I think we should just change it to say like
condoms.
we use condoms.
Yeah.
I think at the time it was kind of harder to say that, but now that's very easy to say.
Right.
Wear a condom. You ready? Go grab a condom.
Yeah.
That's how we say it now. But yeah, it was different. It was very, very different. We started off, of course, in the negative because of me and my period. But
well, and we also were very turned off by the fact that they were wasted.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they had been smoking pot and drinking all day long.
right. And we had just gotten there.
Yeah.
We got there and napped.
Yeah, because we were
Still
hungover. So
recovering.
Here's the pot calling the kettle black.
Right. Had we only been there on Friday night, things would have been so much better.
So we were kind of turned off by that to begin with. And at first I had trouble connecting with her, but then ultimately I did. And I did like her. She was very attractive. And once we kind of got on the right intellectual wavelength and we started talking about what we had in common, then yeah, I liked her and totally would have had sex with her with a condom.
Right.
That was the plan. That was my plan.
Yeah, I liked him too. I did like him, and
He was an interesting guy.
he's a very interesting guy, super nice. Really enjoyed our chats leading up to it. I think it was just a situational thing. They'd been there all day. We had just rolled in. I had my period. We couldn't play, but they did not do a good job of communicating with us what the intent was. Because if they said, hey, let's go on a tour of the playroom, and if we decide to stop and hang out, then I would have instantly said, let me tell you right now what's going on. Or you would have run up to the room and said, sure, hold on, let me go get my condoms. But they didn't communicate any
in
of
our
that.
minds, and communication goes both ways. And so maybe we in the future would say, well, what do you have in mind?
Well, that's true. Good point.
And
Touche.
so, but back then,
yeah, we didn't know.
we had no
anything.
clue. And in our minds, that's exactly what we were doing. We were just going to go on a tour of the playrooms.
Or maybe in the future we just carry your play bag with
Well,
you, or you always have some. I mean, I think we do now.
That's in my
anyways.
notes here. That's the takeaway. Just have your little go bag with you all the time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not a bad idea. But the other thing too that I remember in listening to that clip, and I'd forgotten how awkward it was with him really trying to orchestrate and set the stage and
Yes.
push me on her. And you can hear me talking about, I tried. And then I thought, ooh, in my mind, I'm sitting here listening now 3 years later about how I can't believe I didn't turn to him and go, you go fuck her if you want to fuck her, that if you want, I mean, I don't remember it being the way that it sounds when I talk
Yeah.
about it, but obviously it was because I'm talking about it a day later.
Yeah, the next day.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he was very pushy.
yeah.
Yeah, he was very pushy. He was kind of a dick in a lot of ways, and just not our style. So maybe that's fine for some, but for us, he was very pushy.
And maybe it was just the day and the thing, and then here we were, and they were really hoping to connect with us and hook up with us and have sex with us. And
Yeah,
I had
but
my
as you point out
period.
in that audio, she wasn't interested
Right.
in you, and
Yeah.
actually, it said on their profile that she's straight, and so
Right, that's
this
right,
was
yeah.
his fantasy that he was trying to enforce on everybody else, and that's not how girl play works. I know, I've been there. I want to see it all the time. It rarely happens, and when it does, it's amazing. But when it does, it's only when you have a connection with a woman, and it's only happened. I can count on
One hand.
1.5 hands when that's happened. It's rare, but when it happens, it's amazing. But when it's not there, you can't fucking force that. You can't push it.
Right.
And that's what a lot of guys want to push. And
Well,
it just
yeah.
it doesn't work that way.
It's their fantasy.
Well, it is. It's
Hell
mine.
yeah.
But I have learned I can't make that happen.
Right.
I can't will that into existence.
And, the question also that's going through my mind is that maybe that is when they have success with that, when she's really kind of wasted and stoned and,
Interesting.
and
yeah.
but with a woman who will be the aggressor. And I don't like people pushing me around and telling me what to do. So that wasn't going to work.
Yeah. No,
I
you'll-
wasn't the aggressor. I wasn't even the instigator. I was the pawn.
Right. Right. And you'll dig in your heels if you're not interested.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think you even said in the audio, fuck you.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my bag. But
when you are into a woman, there's no stopping, and it's incredibly amazing, but it's not going to happen often. And certainly this guy pushing your hand over is not going to make it happen. It's just going to make you say, what the fuck? Leave me alone.
Why don't you go lay there? Why don't you put your hand there? Why don't you suck her nipple? Yeah. Now, let's be fair. It happens often. It happens. And I have recollection of you sometimes saying to your female partners, well, you can go over there and suck Myrina's boob. She doesn't mind if you suck her tit.
I have done that, but that was early on in the process. I don't do that now.
Well, we don't. I'm trying to think when we're in the same playroom.
The last time we were in the same playroom, you were in attack mode. So
yeah. So I was ready to suck anybody's nipples, and they were going to suck mine.
I didn't have to.
Yeah. See, so what I was going to say was, I think when you become more experienced, that may not be something that has to happen.
Yeah.
It's like the women kind of decide.
Right.
Or
So actually, I'll say this to the guys: just back off.
Yeah. Give it some time.
Yeah, back off. And when it's meant to be, it'll happen.
And then
if it's meant to be. And then it'll be amazing.
I would say then it'll be super fucking hot.
Yeah.
Instead of this forced, weird kind of like
right.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because when the energy's flowing, the vibe is pretty fucking hot.
Oh, yeah. Getting on hard right now.
What? That's not like you. When we record a podcast and relive our past and talk about our future.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at your pokey nipples right now.
Oh, next time I'll wear a bra so they don't be all so pokey for you. So anyways, it was a good experience. Mm-hmm. It was a good learning experience.
It was a good learning
We'll put it that
experience,
way.
yes.
Yeah, we'll put it that way. It's a good learning experience. And just, I think, reiterated the point, obviously, for us, which we drove home ad nauseum, which is don't play when you have your period. It's just not worth it. But the other thing is that being comfortable in your own vibe, your own play ethic, ethos.
Yeah, and being able to say no. And God knows, I did not want to say no. That was hot.
Yeah.
It was really fucking hot because she flipped herself around and arched her back, put her ass in the air. I had been eating her pussy, and I was incredibly attracted to her, and I wanted to fuck her. But condoms were up in our room because we were going on a tour. We weren't going to go fuck.
I know.
And so, I wanted to, but, I wasn't going to. I couldn't. I wouldn't. So that was very disappointing. Staying true. Now, we've also talked about, I think in episode 11, there have been times when I've let that slip a little bit, where I've been mounted by a woman, and she climbed on top. And as she's getting on, she says, "Oh, is this okay?" Yeah. So, it happens.
Right.
And we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But in that moment, there was no way I was going to climb on and fuck her as much as I wanted to.
Right.
So stay true to, or try most of the time to stay true to what you're, what you're.
It just wasn't right.
It wasn't
The whole
right.
thing wasn't right. Yeah. So,
yeah.
If it had been right, we wouldn't be talking about it this way.
But it was totally a bait and switch for us.
Yeah, it really felt like that.
Yeah, it did feel like that. Even though we had a year of experience, and we had probably more experiences in that first year than a lot of people do in 10. So we were pretty experienced, but they were hardcore, as we said earlier. I don't know that the bait and switch was orchestrated. I don't think so, because I think they were too fucked up to be that smart.
Yeah.
I think, for them.
It just felt like that. But
for them, it probably just happened also. And it was
Right.
I think it was just kind of mistakes all the way around.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, from our perspective, it was a bait and switch. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. And be able to
that
say
can
no.
happen.
Just say,
Yeah,
yep,
just say
nope,
no.
we weren't prepared for this. In hindsight.
Or, hey, let's meet back in a half an hour.
Yeah.
We got to go freshen up.
Right.
Which means go get condoms.
Right. Right. Or go grab a bite to eat or whatever it is. But it's all good. There you go. That was the story. So it was a weird fucked up encounter. But there you go. Makes for interesting episode information.
Yeah.
To talk about it later in all these weird interactions that we have. But anyways,
that was one of the weird.
It was the one. I think it is. Yeah.
One of the weirdest interactions that we had
Absolutely.
and have since.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely. But then again, so let's talk about secrets really fast. We talked about it a lot, obviously. And again, what I said earlier was that we wanted to play this for you so that you can hear our experience at that point in time. But a lot has changed.
Oh, absolutely. So we went back in September of 2019 to spend the weekend with, I think we mentioned in that audio that we have friends who bought a unit there.
Yeah, we didn't know at that point in time that we'd be going back with them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so we tried the old go back with some other people that you know thing.
Yeah.
That was the next way we were going to try that, and we did. So that story's coming up in a couple months in our podcast. Yeah.
At the rate we're going, it might be a year from now.
It won't.
So we went back in September of 2019, and then we went back last October for Pod Bash, which, as I alluded to, we talked about in episode 28, I believe. And in that episode, we did talk about a lot of the changes that they had made. So when we went back in September of 2019, we could already see the progress. And then when we went back last year, it was even more pronounced. So we're really excited when we go back next month, and we are going back in October of 2022. We're going for Pod Bash again, our second Pod Bash in a row. And
I believe it is the second annual Pod Bash. We'll see if there's a third annual, but it's the second one.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is organized by the Front Porch Swingers, Brian and Brenna. And there are also going to be, in addition to us, other podcasters that are going to be there are 4 Hour Play, Friends with a Twist, the Swinging Flamingos, and the Naked Relationship. They're all going to be there. And listeners of each of us are going to be there. And just a great opportunity for different podcast audiences, because we're all very different podcasts.
Right.
And we're all very different vibes. We're all very different places in our lives and our podcast journeys. And that reflects in our audiences. And so all of these really cool people get to meld together and have a great party for a couple of days at Secrets Resort and Hideaway in Kissimmee. And so we're really excited about it.
So if you find yourself with nothing to do the weekend of October 13th through 16th of 2022, come join us.
Absolutely.
And you don't actually have to stay there. Did you say this part? There's about maybe a dozen or so
I
rooms?
did mention that. Brad
Okay.
told me there's about a dozen rooms left.
Yeah, left. But I will say you do not have to stay on property to come to the parties.
Right.
You can come during the day, stay all day. There's actually, if you're from out of town, is it Quality Inn?
Quality Inn, yeah.
That's just another. We actually stayed there last year, and it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
I think we walked. Yeah. No, actually, we drove. We drove. Literally,
You can walk if
You
you-
can totally
yeah.
walk. You can totally walk.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's a place to sleep. That's really
Place
all
to
we're going to
sleep,
say.
Yeah. So anyways, come join us.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be in the area or you want to come down to Florida in October, please come join us for that, because that'll be super fun. And like Tristan said, it's so fun to hang out with other podcasters and podcast listeners. If you find us fun, you've probably listened to some of these other podcasts like Front Porch Swingers and so forth, and get a chance to meet everybody and talk to other podcast listeners.
Mm-hmm. So when we were there in October of last year, we saw even more improvements in the facilities. And the most obvious to me was that pretty much all of the rooms now are renovated. When we went in 2018, only the interior rooms were renovated. Now, most of them that we could see were either, finished or under construction. So I think that it's going to be pretty much built out in terms of the renovations to the rooms themselves. The other thing that's happening and that is ongoing, and I think will be done by the time we're there next month, from what I've heard, is that the large pool is under reconstruction and they're redoing it. And I don't know what they're making it into, but that should be ready to go. And so just the physical features, the physical grounds are improving tremendously. I think I mentioned in episode 28 that the restaurant facilities are much better now. There's an actual cafe there.
Well, let's back up for just 2 seconds, because that was totally different. If you listen to this audio, it's totally different.
Yeah, there's like
than-
this galley kitchen before.
So
and,
you
yeah,
can't
with
do
a
that
couple
now.
of tables.
Yeah, no, it is not like that at all now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I said, and I don't know that Tristan agreed with me, but when we were talking about this after we listened to the audio the first time, that in my mind, because originally back when we went in 2019, they had the buffet. You can go and get an omelet. You can get as many omelets as you want. It was part of your price to get in.
And they were awesome.
It was good. Well, at 2 o'clock in the
omelets,
morning.
yeah, the omelets were awesome.
Everything's good at, well, not everything, but those were good. It was very good at 2 o'clock in the morning. But that to me kind of equated to Trapeze in Atlanta, because that was the only place I don't think we had been yet.
No, we hadn't been there yet.
So when we go, we're like, oh, okay, I can see where they got this. And they included this food in these buffets and things like that. That is what Trapeze in Fort Lauderdale and Atlanta both do. Now it's much more, well, it's a cafe. There is no free buffet unless they're doing a special event. I think sometimes they do have buffet stuff out there, but there's no free breakfast and stuff like that. But they've upped their game in other areas. So it's kind of like they switched more from like, we're going to be kind of trapeze-like to we're going to be more Hito-like because of the party atmosphere. That's the feedback that we've gotten, because we've never been to Hito. But more like the bar and the party and the DJ.
Yeah, and the poolside party.
The poolside party,
which are awesome.
and the shot girl. And also in this, we talked about there's only a few cabana beds. Now there's a ton.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not $50.
No.
It's like $300 for the day, but bar service is included or something.
It's bottle service. And
Bottle
so you
service.
have a designated waitress that
Yes.
will come and take care. You have mixers available and a bottle. And
I think you get two.
I don't know that it's $300. We don't quote
No.
prices.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm
You-
trying to remember.
I know, you
Brenda
thought that-
told me something.
You thought that the downtown Tampa trolley was free, and it turned out to
It
be.
is
but,
free. That's you're gonna. That's
But you're all
not
quoting
a-
prices willy nilly, and we don't want to make representations here. We have
Okay.
no idea how much they fucking cost.
It's not $50. I will tell you
No,
that.
it's not.
I think it's $300. But anyways, I won't quote any prices. But it was way more.
But they're
than,
well attended, and so
Yes.
and yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and so it's worth it.
if you will need a cabana and you
Want to be in the shade and
want to
have-
be in the
and
shade and
have-
have bottle service.
And have sexy waitress waiting on you, then,
Right.
yeah.
So it just depends on what, but I think there's like 12 of those now
have
where
no
I think
idea.
originally, yeah, we'll have, I think on the episode back when we went to Pod Bash, we actually talked about how many because I counted. But yeah, so that was very different too. The layout of the grounds has improved, giving more people more space for that.
Yeah, and one of my pet peeves, like we mentioned, the bathroom situation was awful in 2019.
Yeah.
Much improved.
Yes.
Yeah, much improved. They completely renovated the restrooms in the dance club,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very, very nice.
Yeah.
like really super modern and very nice, very impressive. And the ones that are in the main part of the building are fine.
They actually closed down though the
yeah,
ones
the
out,
outside one.
the
Yeah, the pool
one,
one.
yeah, the one that was by the pool that was
Right.
so yeah,
that's a
that's
storage room now.
Yeah.
It was last. When we were
it'll be
there.
interesting to see what it looks like next month because it'll be a year.
Yeah, and the pace that they're improving everything, I would expect it to be much different than it was a year ago.
But
The
yeah,
bottom
so-
line is we like it.
Yes.
We do like it. It's just, there really isn't a reason for us to go drive across I-4 for 2 hours to go there when we have all that we have here. And so we'll go once or twice a year.
I think that what we said in the audio is that we have Paradise Lakes, we have Caliente, and that there wasn't really an in-between, but what Secrets was kind of the in-between.
I don't think that's not the case now.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
They're kind of different. It's just a different
Yeah.
thing. Well, Secrets in and of itself, I felt like it was a little bit of a younger crowd, although there were definitely older folks there.
There were, but
we were there.
predominantly a younger crowd, I
Yeah,
would say.
I mean, there were folks older than us even, but yeah, it was more skewed
Yeah.
towards that direction. And it's definitely, it's less expensive to go to Secrets. It's much more affordable than some of these other places. And I
Right.
think that attracts a lot of people, especially
yeah, the younger people.
the younger folks, yeah. And maybe even people who are not even sure and they want to dip their toes in. I don't know if that's the best place to do that though, but because it's a
Yeah.
little bit cheaper, I think that's what happens. I don't know. But you can't really say it's in between Paradise Lakes and Caliente.
Yeah,
they're
not
very
anymore.
different because Paradise Lakes is also a community. There's
Right.
people that live there
And they have
full time.
upgraded incredibly.
Yes, they have too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we were talking about all this. So Secrets playrooms, definitely they improved their dungeon. They changed the layout, but their playrooms were, I think by far at the time in 2019, they were the best. And then in the meantime though, Paradise Lakes and Caliente, you'll hear us talking in that clip where we had just found out that Caliente had these after parties. Well, now they don't do those anymore because they have their playroom. So Paradise Lakes and Caliente have open playrooms as well. And I think what we had also mentioned to each other is that the places that were lifestyle friendly are becoming lifestyle venues.
Right.
So they
Right.
are making these adjustments. Everybody's upping their game
Yes.
and really making this area. I mean, if you think about it, in Orlando, Tampa, there's just a lot of lifestyle stuff here.
Yeah.
And then the smattering of stuff down in South Florida.
Yeah, so if
which
you
is
wanna-
a different crowd altogether.
If you want to come from out of state, you don't have to go to Jamaica or
Yeah.
Mexico. You can just come to the I-4 corridor
Really?
and go
yeah, there's a
to
lot.
Tampa and Orlando and spend
Yeah.
a week between the two.
And then if you want to add some kink in there, there's a whole nother level of stuff there that's really nice and
Right.
easy to do too. Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, even
there's
at
a lot here.
Secrets. I mean, at Secrets.
That's true. They have an
a
amazing
great
dungeon.
at Secrets.
And we have not been yet, but the
And-
Caliente has opened the dark,
The dark side, yeah.
They're just putting the final touches, I think, on it. But yeah, they're going to be opening their dungeon area as well. So the kink is starting to kind of pick up a little bit.
In addition to the designated kink areas in our region,
Yes.
the Phoenix Club.
Yeah, the Woodshed in Orlando.
Woodshed in
Which
Orlando.
we have not been to yet either, but that's on the list.
in Sarasota,
the Dark Temple.
Dark Temple. Yeah. So
There's
you
a
can,
lot
you can
around.
have an entire lifestyle / kink vacation just in
Yes.
the Orlando and Tampa Bay area. And,
Right.
and you don't have to go to Mexico or Jamaica
It's fascinating to be able to hear us talk about that 3 years ago.
and see where we are now in our region.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think everybody should come here.
I think so.
We'll start doing tours.
Hey,
Hey, Go to a lifestyle tour with the accidental swingers.
Hey, I like that idea.
Well, who knows? Stranger things have happened. We're going to the Dominican Republic.
That's true.
Yeah, join us on that.
We are fun. We're fun to hang out with. And hanging out with us for a week.
I don't think we even talked about the fact, though, that we get to pick our own excursions. So the
I don't
group,
think we did mention that.
I don't think we did. So if you come with us on our Sway, which is, like we said, we have room for 9 more couples. That is it. And it's $4,000, but it's all inclusive. The only thing you're paying is to get to the Dominican on your own. Everything else is paid for. And then if you bring some cash for tips and things like that. And of course, you want to go shopping. But that's really all you need. But we get to the whole team, everybody. So if you want to go and you think you're going to go, better get on in the next couple of weeks because we're going to start sewing up our excursions now. But we all vote on what they are going to be. So there's a list of, I don't even know how many he's going to give us. We all get to kind of say what we like, what our likes and dislikes are, and what we think we want to do. And so we've got some really amazing opportunities and things, zip lining and waterfall hiking. And we're going to do a little or there's an opportunity to do a little, maybe our own little kind of bedroom sensual kink session. And then of course the evening kind of experiences and go watch the video on YouTube. It's really, really, it tells you everything that you want to know. But for cheaper than I think even a garden room view at Hito.
Right.
And you get to go to the Dominican and do all this stuff. And it is.
And hang out with us.
But it's all gourmet.
Right.
It's going to be awesome.
Chef. Yeah, there's a chef that's, and 24-hour open bar as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I hope we get invited back because I don't know if they've ever seen us at 24-hour open bar, all you can drink. We're going to lose money on that one. Yeah. So it's amazing to listen to us talk about all these different places and things. And as we explore and have some amazing opportunities to go and visit other places and other areas in the country and other resorts, to be able to kind of compare them and give everybody our feedback as to what we liked and didn't like. But yeah, we hit the jackpot being here in this part of Florida.
Yeah.
There's so much to do. People will email us all the time and say, which one do I go to? We're coming. Do we go to Secrets over in Orlando? Do we come over to Tampa? And we always tell people, if you can do both, do both.
Yeah.
If you don't, pick the city and then just decide which one you're going to go to. Right. We love Caliente, but it's Caliente. That's what you're here for. If you're in Orlando, there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can also do. So it just kind of depends on what your plans are.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's it. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a long story.
It was a long story,
but
it was a great story.
It was a cool week. And I think it was like 4 or 5 days it covered. Because we did Podfest before that and had our little vanilla encounter. Yeah.
The almost or could have been successful.
We don't even know.
Yeah.
No, I was too drunk.
Yeah.
I was too drunk, but it was fun.
He probably was too.
Yeah.
You're 0 for 4 on vanilla guys.
One of these days it'll pay off.
Keep trying, babe.
It's all fun.
Keep plugging away.
It's all good.
I'm 0 for 0 on vanilla women, so
there you go.
I haven't even tried.
Yeah, well, but that's it for us. So thanks for hanging out with us today, whenever you're listening in your car, wherever you are, mowing the lawn. We get a lot of emails like, thank you for making our garden work so wonderful. So for all of you who are listening doing your garden work, you're welcome. How wonderful for you to be here with us. We look forward to seeing you again next time. In the meantime, if you want to find us, you can check us out. The new YouTube channel is up. YouTube, just search Accidental Swingers. You'll see our bright and smiley faces, and we're
subscribe.
there. And subscribe. Please do. And check out those videos. The other thing about subscribing is it will let you know when new episodes or videos have been released, and we have new stuff coming up in the next 6 weeks or so. So if you subscribe, you'll be one of the first people to know. So check us out on YouTube, but you can also follow us on our Instagram. That is at Accidental Swingers, or you can follow Tristan on his own personal Instagram account, which is
at Myrina's Tristan.
That's because he is Myrina's Tristan. And then also on our Twitter account, which is Myrina_Tristan. But if you just search Accidental Swingers, you'll be able to find us. And you can also join our groups on Cassidy or SDC. Search for us there. Our profiles are there. Or actually on SDC, it's Myrina's Tristan again. Myrina Tristan.
Well, that's our personal one.
Yeah, I know, but it's there.
They can go to that one too. Our Accidental Swingers one is Accidental Swingers.
Right. That's the group.
Yeah.
We have our profile there too.
Yeah. Same on Cassidy. It's Accidental Swingers.
There you go.
Yeah.
So those are the places you can find us. Yeah. So thanks for joining us. And I guess we will see you next time.
Next time.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Loved this episode of the Accidental Swingers? Pop on over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to our show. And while you're there, you can leave us a review. You can also visit our website, accidentalswingers.com, to get show notes, read our blog, or find out about our next adventure. Join us next time and listen along as we bumble our way through this adventure that we call the lifestyle.